But Rob Parker, let me start here. I think you and I agreed, at least I proposed it, I don't know if you agreed or not, that this postseason, we would find out who is going to wear the crown of the world's best player, the mythical crown of the best player in the world. LeBron James has worn it for years, but because he couldn't lead the Lakers to the playoffs this year, we're going to take that from him, if only temporarily. We'll see if he can gain it back.
He'll never get it back.
He might not. I mean, you wouldn't think in his 17th year.
No,
but
as you go forward.
He's
right.
coming out on a mission. Just remember that. On a mission.
Some missions fail,
that, okay?
too. You know that.
Okay. Just remember that.
I'm just saying that.
Just remember that.
I'll bet you anything right now.
As Shannon Sharp would say, bring that same energy next year.
Oh, I'm going to bring it next year.
Bring that same energy.
I will.
All right? Because you didn't bring the same energy when you were supposed to move to Mexico.
I did go. I went to Cancun for the weekend.
That wasn't the bet. Anyway, I think it's a three-man race. I think Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Kawhi Leonard. James Harden was in the race. I think he's dropped out. And Giannis, because his lack of a jump shot, I think the other two would probably have to be a bit ahead of him. But because Kevin Durant, and I don't take anything from Durant on this, but his team is dope without him. Dope was dope before he got there and dope now that he's injured. And that's been the case during the 3 years. So I'm not saying Kawhi's ahead. There's still much basketball to be played. But Kawhi Leonard is definitely making a hard push for this. And no harder push did he make than to hit this shot.
There we go. They get it to Leonard. Drives right. Down to the baseline. Fall away for the win. Got it! Kawhi Leonard's shot went up in the air. It hit the rim. It bounced on the rim before going through the bucket. Toronto wins 92-90. It's on to Milwaukee and the Eastern Conference Final.
Rob, before you begin to weigh in on this, you want me to read you the numbers of the three guys throughout the postseason or not?
Yeah, that's fine.
KD, 34 points a game, leads all scorers. 51% from the field, 41.6% from three. Doing damage. Kawhi Leonard, 31.8 points a game, 54% shooting, 40.8% from three. These dudes are deadly from three. Giannis, 27 points a game, 52% shooting, 32% from three.
Impressive numbers.
Yep. So what's your take on, who's playing the best in this postseason?
I still think it's Kevin Durant. I know he's injured, so it's always hard, out of sight, out of mind. You see what Kawhi did, which, you hadn't seen that. It has never been seen before in NBA history.
Game 7.
Game 7.
Game winner, buzzer-beating game winner.
Yeah, you've never seen that, so that's at the top of your mind. But his numbers were unbelievable before, of course, getting hurt. So I still would say KD. I would stick there because of what he was doing, which was legendary. Just the numbers he was putting up especially Chris, after everybody complained that he wasn't shooting. You remember that? And then after that, he just went on a tear.
He reminded us who he was.
You know who I am?
Kevin Durant.
Exactly.
I like that. That's a great clip for him.
It is.
Because he was dead serious. It wasn't said with a smirk or with a chuckle. It was like he was really like, do y'all know who I am? I'm Kevin Durant. It was great. But anyway, the thing I like about these three guys is all of them are great defenders. Every single one of them is a tremendous defender and obviously offensive player. If you bring the team into it, like the team success, then obviously you'd have to go, at this point, it could change, but you'd have to go with Giannis because his team has rolled. They're 8-1 in the postseason. I know Detroit wasn't much of a team to face, but they routed them. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they won some 5-point games. Right. They just demolished them.
Right.
Toronto didn't demolish Orlando like that, who's about as good as Detroit. You know, so you can't hold that against them. And then Boston, and I know it was full of dysfunction, but that still was a pretty good team. And to beat them in 5 and 4 blowout victories, they have been incredibly impressive. And if you take the team aspect into it, then you'd have to put Giannis ahead. I just think his lack of a jump shot and a 3-point shot specifically does give the other two an advantage over him. I think he's going to continue to get better at it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in 4 or 5 years, he's going to probably be a really good, you know, more than adequate 3-point shooter, and then it's going to be over. I mean, he's going to be unstoppable.
If Golden State doesn't win a championship or gets knocked out by, say, Portland, does that increase Kevin Durant's? Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you're saying
does he win
without him? If they lose without him,
does he win if they lose?
Well,
with the way that you would look at him, you know what I'm saying?
It's one of those situations where you'd love to be in his head, you know, because let's face it, he's human. I know
human nature is that you want them to lose. I don't care what anybody says.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's human nature.
That is human nature.
I don't want to be off the radio show, Chris, for a month, right? And the ratings go up. I don't. I mean,
and Jonas fills in and we go through the roof.
Am I right? I mean,
no, right.
I mean, let's just be honest.
No, you're absolutely right, and it doesn't mean Kevin Durant's a bad guy, because that's human nature. All human beings think that. Now, I do think a part of him obviously is pulling for his teammates, and you want them to win. But to your point, it's human nature to want them to need you. And so I agree. I do think, Rob, if let's say he doesn't get back this series and they lose to Portland,
right?
There's no question it raises his stature. In fact, if
kind of like Kobe got his stature rated,
right? By LeBron
not making it to the playoffs, right?
No, absolute. You're absolutely right. And here's the thing: if the big if, but if the only reason Kevin Durant is contemplating going elsewhere, New York, the Clippers, whoever, if the only reason is because he feels like he'll never get his just due in Golden State, but if he loves it, you know, all the other things about it, loves the way they play, loves his teammates, looking forward to playing in the new arena in San Francisco next year, you know, like loves the thought of trying to win 5 or 6 championships with this group, then that would give him a reason to stay. You know? Just like when the year he went there, as much as he wanted to go there because of their style of play and the unselfishness, and he just thought that was beautiful basketball, if they had won the championship, if they had beaten Cleveland, I don't think he could have went there, and I don't think he would have went there.
That's interesting, yeah. That would have been different. Totally.
That would have really been bad to go there, right? If they won a championship.
Yeah, that would have looked even. It was bad enough by itself.
Right.
But you're
right. I don't
right.
think he would have went. So I agree with you. There's no question it makes him look better if they lose.
Yeah.
But remember, go back 2 years. Now, again, it was 2 years ago, but Durant was there. And they played Portland in the playoffs, and they swept Portland. And Durant only played 2 of the 4 games. So if they're as good as they were a couple years ago, the other guys, they shouldn't have much of a problem with Portland. But I think, you know, Portland's better. And I know Lillard and McCollum are really looking forward to this matchup, because I'm sure in their minds, and I fully believe this, in their minds, they think they're better than Steph and Clay. And they should. But I just think they really feel that way. I think the difference is that McCollum and Lillard have to work a lot harder to get their shots. And Steph and Clay are, you know, spotting up, running off screens. Now, that's a lot of running, but they're not just handling the rock, breaking down their man, things like that. So It's going to be an interesting series. But your point is well stated that it would look better for Kevin Durant if the Warriors lose without him.
No doubt. It's going to be definitely interesting as they move along. And Brian Finley already said that. What did he say? That there's a chance that KD might not play the first 2 games, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I think he's probably out the first 2.
So
we might as well do our picks, Rob, for this next round. I've got Golden State winning with or without KD. And I like you said, all year I picked Toronto. I picked Toronto before the playoffs started. But in this series, I'm going with Milwaukee.
wow.
I think they've been more impressive, as I mentioned. They've been more impressive in the playoffs. I know Philadelphia is incredibly talented, but I don't think they're that good yet because of their lack of maturity, lack of execution, so on and so forth. And the fact that they gave Toronto literally all they could handle, I think Milwaukee's going to get the best of Toronto.
I think Milwaukee's not ready. Not yet, just like Philadelphia wasn't ready. They got a great player in Giannis, but a lot of those guys haven't been there on this stage. And Toronto has a guy who's been there, done that, been on those moments. I'm going to go with Kawhi. Kawhi is why I believe in the Raptors. He is the guy that you want to have on your team with that experience, with that knowledge, with that ability to seize a moment and do what his team needs. So I'm going to go with them. And the same thing, I just think Portland has a nice team, just not ready, just not there. They got through Denver. Denver helped them out a little bit. 17 straight threes missed to end the game. You could say Damian Lillard didn't play great. You know what I mean? He was bailed out by CJ. Let's just be honest.
CJ did it.
Am I right, Chris? He was bailed out.
And not only not great in the last game, but really the last few.
Right. So I'm just going to go with Golden State with or without Kevin Durant. And that was my original pick, as you know, before the season, was Toronto against Golden State. I'm sticking with it.
What would it take? You mentioned you're believing in Kawhi. What would it take for you to move Kawhi ahead of KD as the best player in the world?
He'd have to win the championship, win a Finals MVP. He'd have to do that because we've already seen. Yep, he'd have to do that because we've seen KD, and I've seen him do it against LeBron. You know what I mean? And I would need Kawhi to do something like that. Because then that would give him 2 Finals MVPs, right? Just like him. So I can move him into that category.
All right. Your turn to weigh in. 877-99 on Fox. 877-996-6369. Who is the best player in the world right now, to use Rob Parker's favorite phrase? Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, or Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm starting to like saying his last name.
I know, you're getting it.
Right?
Let's start with Chris in Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Chris?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it.
I think, you were talking about the numbers of all the players there, and while they all had great numbers, Giannis probably would have higher numbers if it wasn't for the fact that his team's been rolling through everybody. And
bad sell. Sorry,
that's a good
Chris.
point, though.
Right.
That's a good point.
Right.
Because they
playing
are
less
winning,
games.
Right. They're winning in blowouts. And he does have the better, he's averaging 11 rebounds a game. So he's doing it on the backboards, too. Only 4.5 assists, down from his season average of 6.
All right. Let's go to Max in Georgia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Max, what's happening?
Good evening. Privilege as always, gentlemen.
Thank you,
I wanted
Max.
to say, hey, and by the way, Chris, not to call you out here, but you got to get that man his Jordans. Come on now.
Oh,
Man.
there we go. Yes.
Is that your cousin or something, Rob? There's no
Why
way.
anytime somebody
There's
says
no
something
way
in
you
my
just
support,
said that.
I gotta be related to. They gotta be related
Somebody
to me.
calling up trying to take $300 out of my pocket, that's got to be related to you.
Take it out of your kid, out of your girl, out of your daughter's mouth, right?
Right. Nah, go ahead.
So KD, right? Career stat, 27, 7, and 4 guy, and you got Kawhi 17-6-2. Now I can't really hold him on that 17 because obviously he was a part of the Spurs organization and
Right.
Popovich's.
So you're talking
team.
about career numbers.
Right, career numbers. But I think what I wanted to say is until Kawhi, which hopefully we can maybe see it this year in the finals if both teams progress, I want to see if Kawhi can go at KD because I do think it's fair to say KD is the best player in the world. He snatched it from LeBron 2 times in a row in Game 3s in his face, knocking that jumper down. So I think I want to see him try to do something similar to that or something similar to Game 7 like he did the other day to KD because if he's able to do that, with his defensive skills, I would have to say he might be able to take the crown. But for right now, it's KD.
I think that's a great call because the 3 of these guys, Giannis, Kawhi, and KD, the great thing about this is we're likely to see them actually go at it mano a mano. You know what I mean? Like they're the same position, essentially.
Yeah, which would be great. Right. And I got to say, I said it before the playoffs started. They have been great, even without LeBron James. I don't know what the numbers are, but
the ratings are up.
But they have been.
Rob G, can you read that? The ratings are up 20% in the second round?
Yeah, Chris, you have that. You're pretty close. I think it is 20%. It's up. Yeah, exactly. 20% from last year's semifinals, this year's semifinals.
Yeah, because it got off to a slow start.
Did you hear that?
Because there's no LeBron, right, Rob?
Did you hear that weak good? The good.
What? I said good. What do you want me to say?
It's killing you inside. In fact, here's the proof
They're up by
that it's
20% because there's no LeBron. That's the reason.
Here's the proof that it's killing you. Your very next sentence after good was, because they started so low.
What? I'm just saying.
That was when the truth was coming out.
No, not at all. Let's go to Sean in Sacramento. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. You got me all wrong, Chris. What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up, fellas? First of all, man, I was in Italy for the last 2 weeks, and man,
hey, we got a bad cell, man. I don't know what happened. How about Charles in Atlanta? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. Man? What's up?
Hey,
what's happening?
What's going on, fellas, man? I still think it's KD because he's the only one that has done it on the biggest stage as the man. Giannis has not, although he's very impressive, he has not done it on the biggest stage. And Kawhi, this is really his first time being the man on this stage. So right now, it's still KD, but it's still up for grabs. You know what I mean?
That's a good call.
No, he does have that. There's no question that history. I think the advantage that the other two have when you're talking about this mythical title is that they don't have the help KD has. You know what I mean? Like Kawhi and Giannis are actually very similar in that they're the solo stars on their team. You know, they got some good players, obviously, but they're the only 2 stars. So, you know, you can really take what happens in this series as a big memorandum on their actual individual brilliance, too.
Let's squeeze one more. And what about Adam in Texas? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Adam?
Hey, glad to be here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Sounds great.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a hypothetical offense with Giannis, KD, and Kawhi, who would you trust with that last shot? And I think that's your answer.
Well, last shot, I go KD.
I mean, KD, he's made him. We've seen this guy. KD, he could score in so many ways. I would take KD.
There's no question he's the best. Like, he's the best offensive player of the bunch.
He can do everything,
at least
right?
score. At least score. I mean, Giannis is, a great passer and rebounder and posts up, but scorer is KD. No question.